Hello everyone, this is Mohan Kumar, Assistant Professor, Maharani Science College for Women. Today I will be presenting few specimens of phylum Mollusca. And as we all know, Mollusca means soft unsegmented body, usually enclosed in a calcareous shell. But in the cover slide here, I have put two pictures of a sea devil. As we all know, they are outrageously smart, intelligent, and excellent camouflage artists among the entire invertebrates animals. In fact, chameleon is just a drab in front of octopus. Mollusca is considered as second largest phylum of animals after Arthropoda. The phylum Mollusca is composed of a variety of organisms. As you see in this picture, they include slow-moving snails and slugs, clams, and highly active cephalopods. This phylum has around 50,000 living species. The giant squid is the largest invertebrate animal, and mollusca show a great variety of form, and although all molluscans have the same basic structure, that is, they show bilateral symmetry in their form, and majority of molluscans are aquatic, only few being terrestrial. Body, as I said earlier, is soft, unsegmented, without a body cavity other than that provided by the blood sinuses. And body is highly variable and also monomeric, essentially with an anterior head bearing eyes and sensory tentacles, as we see here in helix or even limax, and a large flat ventral foot and a posterior mantle cavity. And the presence of protective external shell is the most prominent feature of molluscans. So in some cases it may be internal as well, like in case of cuttlefish, and covered by tissue, or secondarily reduced or lost as well. So the visceral mass remains enclosed by a thick muscular fold of the body wall called mantle, which is also a prominent feature of molluscans, and a toothed chitinous tongue-like ribbon called radula is present, which assists in feeding, which is also one of the most prominent feature of mollusca. And apart from that, the molluscans show indirect development via larval stages like procophore or veligeral, or even secondarily direct larval stages are also present in molluscans. And phylum Mollusca is classified in the year 1994 by Rupert and Barnes. They classified phylum Mollusca into 7 classes, as we see here: class Bivalvia, Monoplacophora, Gastropoda, Cephalopoda, Scaphopoda, Aplacophora, and Polyplacophora. So in this class today, I shall be covering few specimens from class Bivalvia, namely mussels, and class Gastropoda. We will talk about sea hares, and Cephalopoda, octopuses and cuttlefish, and Polyplacophora, which consist of chitons. And remaining, while discussing about the shell patterns, I will be covering. So this is a brief introduction on phylum Mollusca and its classification. Now coming to the first specimen, that is Mytilus, which belongs to class Pelecypoda or Bivalvia. That is, the shell made up of two equal pieces of valves. So that is bivalvia. Order Filibranchiata. An example is sea mussel. So Mytilus is commonly called as sea mussels, and it is sedentary and a gregarious mollusk. As you see in this picture, sea mussels clustering and living in a social community, and they are gregarious. So they live near tide marks and attached to rocks or stones. And as I said earlier, shell is made up of two equal pieces of valves which are ovoid, slightly curved and pointed in the front like we see here, and broad behind. These two halves of the shell are united anterodorsally by a hinge ligament. So the shell is pointed in the anterior end and round in the posterior end. At the anterior end is located a raised shiny white umbo. Umbo, which represents the oldest part of the shell. So that is the one which is formed in the first stage, soon after larva matures into an adult. Mantle is bilobed and forms exhalent siphon posteriorly. Here is the exhalent siphon. The fringe margins of the mantle protrude out on posterior ventral sides. The foot is cylindrical and tongue shaped with a ventral groove continuous with bicispid, which is not shown in this picture, and foot protrudes out on the anterior side. A part of the foot is modified into byssus threads, as you see in this picture, which would hold on to the substratum. So the terminal ends of these threads are club shaped and bear adhesive glands so that they can hold on to the substratum. So eyes and gills are paired and they are worldwide considered a delicacy. So this is about Mytilus, and our second specimen is chiton. Chiton belongs to class Polyplacophora, meaning they have many tablet bearing structures on their body. So as we see here, the shell plates are the ones which has given their name, or which has put them in a class Polyplacophora. An order Neoloricata, so they are also called loricates. Example is chiton. So chitons are also known as sea cradles or coat of mail shells. There are approximately around 1000 known species of chitons in the world. They range in size from 2 cm to around 33 cm. The largest being the gumboot chiton, which is scientific name is Cryptochiton stellari. So chitons are flattened mollusks, as we see in this picture. They are flattened mollusks that are egg-shaped in outline. They have 8 distinct and overlapping shell plates, or they are also called valves, and they are present across their backs. The valves are layered, with each layer made up of mostly calcium carbonate. And each valve is usually shaped like a butterfly. See, in the center of the shell plates, they look like a butterfly wings. So a ring of tissue surrounds or sometimes covers the entire body. This tissue is the margin of the mantle, as we see here. So as in other mollusks, the mantle produces the valves. Because the chiton mantle is stiff and surrounds the body, it is referred to as girdle. See, in this case, the girdle has been labeled here. Depending on the species, the surface of the chiton's body may be covered with scales, bristles, or small spines. So when we look at the underside of the chiton, body, which is made up of broad muscular foot. On the sides of the body, the foot and girdle are separated by a special groove, and inside the groove are gills that help the chiton to breathe underwater. So it's also called as ctenidia. So here is the gills which are present. So oxygen carrying water enters the grooves near the head, flows through the gills and exits at the rear of the body. As the water exits the system, it carries away waste products released from the anus. The anus is the opening at the end of the digestive tract through which solid waste leaves the body. The water also flushes away liquid waste produced by the chiton's two large kidney-like organs. These kidney-like organs remove waste from the blood found inside the body cavity. The adult chiton's head here is not distinct and does not have any eyes or tentacles. The mouth parts are made up of radula, and the radula is a long belt-like structure with 17 bands of curved teeth. The teeth are very hard. In some species, the teeth are covered with a material that contains iron. In fact, the eastern beaded chiton has the hardest teeth known to exist in nature. So chitons are eaten by people mainly in West Indies and Philippines. So they are also considered as a delicacy. So the next specimen is Aplysia, which is also called as sea hare, and it belongs to class Gastropoda, order Ophistobranchia. Example is Aplysia. So gastropoda are those animals where their foot is positioned below their guts. So they are a major part of phylum Mollusca and are the most highly diversified class in the phylum, with around 65,000 to 80,000 living snails and slug species. And Aplysia, as an example, is a gastropod mollusk of the order Ophistobranchia, meaning gills behind. Ophistobranchia. Branchia is the gills, ophisto is behind. So gills behind, and referring to the location of the gills of Aplysia behind the heart. Aplysia is often called as the sea hare because the sensory tentacles on top of its head called as rhinophores. You see here in this picture, the rhinophores are somewhat reminiscent of a rabbit ear. So they look like rabbit ears. Unlike other gastropods, Aplysia doesn't have a large external shell in which to retreat. So it has a small flat vestigial shell, the thickness of a cardboard actually, covering its viscera and nominally protecting the heart and other internal organs. The mantle or main muscular region on its back is modified into two sections that look like a wings, so called as parapodia. Here we see the parapodia, which cover the gills and help to channel water over it so that the animal can breathe. Water that has passed over the gills to extract oxygen is directed out from between the parapodial flaps via a tube, also modified from the mantle, called as siphon. So, due to the absence of a heavily calcified shell, the overall appearance of Aplysia is somewhat slug-like. A large, soft-bodied animal with a muscular foot covering nearly the entire underside of the animal, crawling along marine bottoms in an inchworm-like fashion. The foot at the posterior end terminates into a small tail. A few members of the genus Aplysia have parapodia, as I said earlier, which are modified into such large wings, and they can help or they can flap them like fins to swim gracefully for moderate distances. Aplysia has small pinpoint black eyes just above the rhinophore. at the front of its head that meets in the center where the mouth is located on the underside of the head. Using the rhinophores and anterior tentacle, the aplysia can quite easily locate food and other aplysia and detect danger. So aplysia, as we see in this picture, release purple ink from the ink gland just under the shell when it is threatened or disturbed. And the animal extracts the pigments from the red algal food which it feeds on, and this pigment tints the ink a purple color. Other extract from the food makes the flesh of the sea hare distasteful to potential predators. And aplysia is a hermaphroditic, meaning it has sex organs of both sexes in a single animal, that is, both male and female present in a single animal. In the wild, sea hares sometimes mate in chains of 3 or more individuals. A large chain of slugs can produce up to 80 million eggs at a time. They tend to mate in and lay their eggs in the seagrass in coastal waters. Once the eggs are laid, they will hatch in 10 to 12 days time. And interesting fact here is that the penis of the aplysia is located in the head of the organism. See here, just next to the eye, adjacent to the eye and below the rhinophore is a penis, which is located in the head of the animal. Aplysia eats marine microalgae, as I said earlier, and principally red algae, so from which it derives pigments that tinge its skin a mottled reddish brown and also gives its ink a pinkish color. So this is about aplysia, and our next specimen is a famous specimen called octopus. And octopus belong to class Cephalopoda, order Octopoda, and octopuses, as we all know, are solitary creatures. They live alone, which depend on their eyes to survive in nature. So they have eyes, and each eye has a lens, pupil, and light sensitive retina, a structure much like the retina of a vertebrate than that of an invertebrate. That is interesting. So octopus is commonly called a sea devil. They aren't able to hear or make sounds. They are considered to be one of the most fascinating creatures of aquatic life due to their very different body. It is normally found in holes or crevices and are under stones along the sea bottom. Body is globular and is divided into visceral hump and head. The head is comparatively small and undifferentiated, and because of that the word cephalopod literally means head footed. Cephalo, head, pod means footed, and refers to the fact that these animals' arms branch directly of their heads. Some cephalopods have tentacles as well as arms, but the octopus manages just fine with 8 arms. Never consider these arms as tentacles, they are strictly called as arms. So these 8 arms are used for practically for everything: eating, moving, hunting, tasting, and mating. So food modified into 8 small and thick arms, which are all arranged around mouth. Each arm is beset with 2 rows of large cup-like suckers all along its length. In males, the third right arm is hectocotyledged. That is, the third right arm of males is modified into a spatulate structure for transfer of spermatophores into the female. And behind the octopus head, directly opposite the arms, is its mantle. So the mantle is highly muscular structure that houses all of animal's organs. Its gills, heart, digestive system and reproductive glands are all crammed into this one space. The strong muscles in the mantle protect the organs and help with respiration and contraction. The octopus also has a funnel, sometimes called a siphon, which is tubular opening that serves as a pathway for water. See here in this picture, an octopus shoots water out of this tube-shaped organ to quickly jet through the ocean. So that gives them mobility in case of emergency. And shell and tentacles are altogether absent. And between the head and visceral hump, at the lower side is present a conical funnel at the base of which lies an ink gland which helps in its escape from enemy. So they release ink when they are threatened or disturbed. Not all blood is red like ours. The octopus blood is quite blue, and the blue color comes from hemocyanin, the copper containing protein that binds oxygen in the octopus. In addition to being blue, octopus blood is a poor carrier of oxygen, which helps explain the animal's sometimes apparent laziness. To cope with the low oxygen levels, the octopus maintains a constant high blood pressure and has three hearts. So there are three hearts. Two hearts pump blood across an octopus gills and a third pumps blood to the rest of the body. Three hearts, remember that. Not three chambered, they have three separate hearts. And skin, as we know, it is pigment-filled cells called chromatophores allow an octopus skin to change color. The octopus is a master of camouflage. So they tend to mimic the environment around them. So they can easily escape a predator, or while preying it gives an advantage to catch the food. So that is about octopus. And we have the next specimen is sepia, which is commonly called as cuttlefish, and they also belong to class cephalopoda, order decapoda, because the presence of 8 arms with 2 tentacles. So example is sepia. So the common cuttlefish, that is sepia, is relatively broad and somewhat flattened cephalopod. It is a marine, bilaterally symmetrical form. Body is divisible into head, neck or collar, and trunk. It has a mantle length of up to around 45 centimeter. Paired fins run from behind the head to the tip of the body. Sepia has 8 arms and 2 elongated tentacles, as we see here. The elongated tentacles terminate with suckers. These arms are specialized for grasping prey after it has been seized by the tentacles. The tentacles are cylindrical, muscular structures which can be quickly elongated. The tentacles can also retract into tentacular sheath. So they end in tentacular club with 5 to 6 rows of suckers that is specially adapted for prey capture. Males have adapted one of the arms for the purpose of transporting sperm into female's buccal cavity located in her mouth. So sexes are separate and sexual dimorphism is seen in males. The fourth arm on the left is the modified copulatory organ. So it is ectocartilized. Of the 5 pairs of arms, 4 pairs are short and stout, bearing 4 longitudinal rows of suckers on the inner flat surface. Whereas the 5th pair of arms is known as the tentacle, which is comparatively long, as you see here, and narrow, provided with sessile suckers only towards the distal end or at the terminal end. So head bears a pair of highly developed, laterally situated eyes and 5 pairs of arms surrounding the mouth. Head bears a siphon, which is not shown in this picture, and Siphon is again used to jet out water when in case of emergency or to move faster. A constrictor neck connects the head and the trunk. Trunk is shield shaped. See, it's a shield shaped bordered by narrow lateral fold on either side called as lateral fins. And individuals are capable of very rapid color change, especially when threatened. They also show camouflage, and they may also take the color or pattern of its background while being a camouflage artist. So shell is internal and is called cuttlebone. That is why it is called as cuttlefish. A pear-shaped ink sac is also present over the posterior surface. They also inject ink when threatened. So here is a picture where we show the mouth having a chitinous beak called as radula. When in use it can be withdrawn, when not in use it can be withdrawn, when in use it will come out. Okay, so here is a picture of a cuttlefish capturing a prawn or a squid. Catches a prawn, and cuttlefish and squid usually swim using flap-like extensions of the mantle as fins. They are called lateral fins, so they are the ones which are used for swimming. Jet propulsion using the siphon is reserved for emergencies. So this is about sepia, and our last specimen today is Glaucidium larva. It is a free-swimming microscopic larva of freshwater mussel measuring 0.1 to 4 millimeter. It has a shell formed of two valves, as we see here, dorsally attached and free ventrally. This is ventrally and this is dorsally attached. Extending between the valves is a adductor muscle. So the valves are covered with curved hooks and spine on the ventral edge. The larva has two mantle folds and a long glandular thread called as provisional byssus. So this is the byssus thread extending from the body between the gaping valves. The mantle lobes bear sense organs that appear like brushes. These are sensory bristles. And Glaucidia are set free from Ctenidia, a comb-like structure, especially a respiratory organ or a gill mollusk, consisting of an axis with a row of projecting filaments. So these, when they release from the Ctenidia, they pass out through the exhale, siphon into water and sink down, and they get attached to gills or fins of fishes, and further development takes place. So this is about the Glaucidium larva. With this we end the class on phylum Mollusca and few of its specimens for the class. Thank you very much.